Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. I have a wonderful friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time, and from Indiana and swimming in Indiana together. Fred Schuster. He's retired now from DRW Proprietary Trading Group, which is headquartered in Chicago. Fred, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us at the show.
Well, John, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure for me to share any of my thoughts about swimming with you and your cohorts here.
I always remember Fred. He's always been very, very tough swimmer and a hard worker, and has the biggest smile on the team, no matter what team he's on. We're going to just dig in a little bit to your swimming experience. Fred has built an absolutely gorgeous pool at his home. You're going to see that. He's got some great recommendations on if you are building a pool yourself, but he does that. You build that and you train in that. Is that right, Fred?
Correct.
25-meter pool that you built on your own at your house.
True. Yeah. 25 meters. It's starts at 4 feet, kind of goes down to 5 feet and back up to 4 feet, and about one big wide lane, so 13 feet wide.
You got some really interesting, when we were talking before, some really interesting insight when you actually build your own pool and design it. And everybody will get a chance to see this gorgeous pool. How did you get started in swimming to start with right in the beginning?
Well, I mean, I grew up just north of Kansas City in a little town called St. Joseph, Missouri, which is famous for the town that started the Pony Express and stopped Jesse James. Those are kind of our two claims to fame, but not much has happened there since. And so, my mom wanted to get all the kids just so we knew how to swim. And so it was more of a, okay, safety thing, figure out how to swim, make sure we're good in the water. And then, it just kind of morphed into some of those kids went over to the swim team, and my sister and I both went over to the swim team. And so it was kind of the one sport that was available in St. Joe that I could do.
Now, were you good right away, or did it take some time to build?
No, I wouldn't say it was good right away. I mean, I kind of was always in that decent state. Kind of once I got to be 9, 10, somebody that would make like the finals when you were a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or kind of at the top of your age group. I kind of progressed as I seemed to get better, relatively as I got older, though.
Yeah, because something happened, because you really accelerated at some point.
And then, coming to Indiana was a big jump for me. I was kind of a walk-on at Indiana, and certainly under Doc's tutelage.
I don't think anybody there would have ever known that you were a walk-on, because you came with this big smile and the willingness to work to get where you were going to go. And I just always noticed that, no matter what came up on the board to do, and some of them were pretty, scary sets, you just have this giant smile, let's do it.
As long as everybody else is there with you doing it, it makes it a lot easier.
But your energy just seemed to me to penetrate everyone around you. You shared great energy. Everybody was happier when you're there, and I've noticed that always. I could tell that around you all the time. Your smile just penetrates, and your energy just penetrates everybody, and you make the people around you better.
Thank you.
I think
it's just, I think, just going in with a good attitude, and I'm here to do this and might as well enjoy it,
Yeah, no matter what you go through. So, and some of the trips that we had together, and the training trips, they're so grueling, but you just look over, you start smiling again. Fred's there, we're good. Personally, thank you for bringing that to the team, because, when you're happier, you train better, when you're feeling good. And you're the person that it really penetrates a lot of people around you to make them feel good. So it's a fantastic thing. So tell us a little bit about some of the highlights of your swimming career.
Starting to swim with Doc would have to be, and just the whole Indiana experience, swimming with I never really, age group wise, I kind of I was kind of a journeyman, didn't really have a team, always swimming unattached. Never getting to do relays, that sort of stuff, because just that was the reality in St. Joe, Missouri. There weren't any teams. I would go swim by myself, more or less, at the Y. And
you're like a self-built man. I mean, considering right all the way up to Indiana, self-built, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, high school we did have, a fair. I wouldn't call it a good team, but we at least had a team, and so that was the first real team. But then to have the ability to swim on a really top notch team with a world renowned coach like Doc was the pinnacle of anything. Just to be in that atmosphere, regardless of
Really
what I did.
phenomenal. I think every swimmer I talked to that swam there with Counsilman, I think the same type of thing when you see coaches like Eddie Reese and those types of coaches that people swim with, Richard Quick. The experience is just, it's hard to say the value you get when you swim for a team like that, and to have built yourself up that way to get there is really incredible. It's not an easy team to get to and to get into and to be accepted on. And then once you get there, and then all that you did for the team, that you brought to the team, just in energy alone was amazing. Where did your swimming career, tell us a little bit more, because you're still swimming now, if I'm right.
Yeah, still pretty actively swimming. I would kind of go on again, off again, kind of based on, am I at the top of my age group or the bottom of my age group, to join in on some of these masters. I mean, what really got me back into masters was to swim on that Team Doc program, which was the whole concept of, all the Indiana swimmers kind of got back together, or a bunch of them, and created a masters swim team. And I think we went to Indianapolis and Cupertino and a couple of the national championships to swim on a Team Doc team. So it was fun. I got to swim with, I know you had interviewed Gary Hall, and
Right.
so he was on the team, John Kinsella, a bunch of those guys, who are really kind of legendary guys. You go and swim in a relay team with them, or things like that. It was a real treat. And so I was like, if I'm going to go, I want to get in shape for that. I was always swimming as kind of a maintenance thing, but not really with focus on swimming in meets. But that kind of jump started me to get back into the meets, and I've been kind of sticking with it since then.
It's really kind of like a family there. I mean, all of us are like brothers and sisters, and I mean, it's really, I have to say, I've been amazed with it, especially since I've been doing these interviews, to reach out and see how many connections there are all over the world to Counsilman and what was brought to us, and same, like I said, same feelings with some of these other teams that had these phenomenal coaches like Nort Thornton, and just amazing people, and I think it penetrates you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely life lessons, and like I said, I was a walk-on with Doc, and not somebody he would have ever been like, oh, I really want to get this guy or anything like that. But he was just such a genuine, person, to the best swimmer, and he treated the best swimmer the same as he treated the walk-ons. And, that was what I was actually I was pretty much set on going to UNC until I came out and, met Doc and, saw what kind of guy he was. And that's certainly what moved the needle towards Indiana and made me switch.
Interesting for us, because like you said, walking on and things like that, we didn't realize what a gift we were going to get. See, I always think of it this way. There's things that people contribute to the team. Looking over, I think every swimmer swam better that I know of when they were around you, because you kept that you can do it attitude all the time. That was huge for us, because it fills a whole team in every level of that energy. Like, we want to do it. You can do it, and you look over it and you're like, man, let's go. and we're all doing the same exact workout, right? And beating ourselves up just as much. And that was great. So where did your swimming journey lead you now? So what are you doing in swimming today?
With COVID, not too much. But I was swimming on an age group team back in Illinois, kind of summer of 2019. So I was that weird old guy over, in lane 6, swimming with all the the high school kids and stuff like, who is that guy? I was training for the world championships down in Gwangju in Korea. Went down, did that, swam really well down there. Actually, I was just saying how I ran into Dijon, former Indiana swimmer as well, and ended up swimming against this guy, Marcus Mattioli, who is apparently, I didn't realize, but he had gone to Indiana as well. And then like his freshman year, he was another Brazilian guy. And then he said the weather got too cold for him, and he's like, "No, I'm going back to Brazil." But it was fun to swim against him and a bunch of guys that I'd never had a chance. I'd never swum in an international meet before, so that was really a real treat.
And so I kept hearing your name pop up, and of course, I already knew you, but in all of our interviews with these world record holders, you got to talk with Fred Schuster. He's doing phenomenal things over there, so you're getting quite a name.
I seem to populate a lot of different circles. I'm swimming here in Indiana or in Arizona. I've got all the Illinois connections and swimming for Team Doc in Indiana. You come across a lot of different circles.
So how did your swimming and the way you look at it, because when you're working with DRW and how do you feel your swimming experience impacted your future career?
Well, I mean, again, I just think it just created discipline. It set up guidelines. It's like, like you're saying, you're doing a set, you got to get the set done. You got to, you're in trading. Trading is a very competitive, you're in a pit. Somebody's going to get the trade. Somebody's not going to get the trade. And it's a question of, who's going to be fastest and, very, in that mindset, very similar to swimming. Like I say, you've got those competitive juices going.
Right.
You really
continue to live that life.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be ready. Every morning was like meet day, because you're going down in the pit, and if you're slow or you're sluggish or you're tired, you're not going to be on your game, and you're not on your game. You're not going to be. You're not going to be making money.
Kind of like racing in a way.
Totally. It was race day every day.
And you loved it.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. So I did that. I mean, I did that for 30 years. So
I can't imagine anybody having a chance with you in there.
There was a lot. I mean, there were a lot of athletes from a lot of different walks of life, and it was a big draw for a lot of different kind of scholarly athletes to come down and really kind of have that chance to be competitive every day. And you could tell the guys who were kind of quiet, kind of withdrawn, and didn't, there's also the whole concept of building relationships with the brokers. And, so it was good to go down,
You're so familiar with teamwork and that's really interesting. You make friends so easily. That's fantastic. If some of our viewers or athletes, for instance, wanted to kind of follow that pathway, what kind of courses did you take in Indiana, or what field were you in?
Well, I studied finance at Indiana, and I don't know if you've been, the markets though have changed so much since 1986. 1986, when I graduated, the floor, the pits were a very vibrant place to do business. Now, a lot of that has morphed onto kind of the electronic screens, and who we were hiring at DRW kind of when I first started were, I want athletes, I want smart athletes and guys that are going to be, if I had somebody that was 6'6", that was even better. You wanted big guys who could, be seen in the pit and be loud. And now it's morphed into, okay, I want to go to the MIT and get software engineers who can, build better algorithms. So the business really kind of changed quite a bit. And I saw that was, certainly one of the reasons I decided to kind of phase out, and 30 years of it had been enough.
I know swimming's been a part of your life for so long. Tell us what swimming, just generally, what does swimming mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's gotten to be such a kind of an integral part of my life, my day, my, get up. I feel bad if I don't swim. It's in just staying in shape, just having that, outlet to, it's a great stress reliever. And I just enjoy like writing down in my little log, okay, what did I do today? What, looking back over the log and seeing, having swimming, it's such a metric. It's an easy metric to measure, and it's not a subjective thing. I mean, it is really a numbers, you can look at your time, and your time is what your time is. And to me, I like that finality of it. It created a great discipline for me I knew I had to be, at the top of my game in trading to be successful. And I think swimming really built that. If you wanted to be successful in swimming, you couldn't slack off and work out. You had to go to work out. You had to do, what the coach asked. And,
really
just
live that mantra, right? When I was talking to you before, you were saying, that log was such a big deal, and numbers have always been a big deal to you. And you almost, it seems like you add those things up. Okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, and therefore this is how I'm right. And so it's very concrete in a way.
Right. Yeah, the subjectiveness of something, like to go and swim and just get in and swim for half an hour, but without having the clock. And I couldn't do that for a long time, where I have a pace clock up on the wall, and that gets used quite a bit. And if I didn't have that, I don't think I need that measure. I need something to be measured.
Fred, tell us a little bit about this pool, because this is amazing.
You can see up on top, up there, that's what we kind of call the play pool. So that's just like a hop in, splash around pool. That's what my wife uses and her friends, and they'll sit down in that's kind of your normal. And then kind of down below, you can see the lane line and the stairs kind of right along the side here as you pull your arrow up. No, in the pool, actually.
Oh, in the pool, right here. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that way you can kind of keep, the stairs don't come into the pool. So you're not really wasting a lot of, they're not protruding into the lap line. That's the back end of a 25-meter pool there, and then that goes underneath the deck and comes through on the other side. There you see
dog, Mr. Chips over here, right?
There's Mr. Chips. Yep, absolutely. And that's, now you're able to see the back end of the pool.
And you have a little clock, it looks like there, that, right?
Yeah, so that's a Colorado timing, kind of standard clock that is kind of set up on the bottom side of the deck there.
What are these boxes over here?
Those are just stepping stones, and the water from the play pool kind of flows into that trough there, and then gets recycled back into the pool. So just kind of a decorative feature.
You gotta want to get in there at night. I mean, that's so beautiful, right?
Oh, it's very cool. It's very cool, yeah. And you can set up the lights to do different colors, and then a fire pit right there. Yeah, so it really turned out great.
And you were mentioning, for those folks they're building pool, you had some great insight to do with the gutters and things like that.
So there's the gutter. And what I've really found, when I swim butterfly, as I swim, hard, the water goes over the edge of the gutter, goes into a holding tank, and then gets recycled and piped back into the pool. And once I get about a couple hundred under my belt, and it's pretty rock and rollish in the water, the water level can't get replenished quick enough. It gets really choppy. That would be something I would do different. I would have put lane lines in. That's still something I might do on down the road. But yeah, that would be something I would certainly have changed.
We're looking at fluid mechanics and kind of where it sits in comparison to the laboratory and the scientists up here, and how fluid mechanics kind of, basically what we are is a visual interpreter of that information. And what, we try to find the parts of the science that will help on the deck and get it into the water with the swimmers. And then you have coaches here. So we train coaches, and we also train swimmers directly. So we can take that great information that's needed, but try to take a little bit of the cutting part of it, the edgy part that's hard to understand, and make it easy to understand and easy to apply in the water. Here was we created something called the Cornerstones of Athletic Performance. And so when we look at this, you can see over here on the left, we have the fuels like sleep, hydration, nutrition, and oxygen. And then down here, you have the energy systems. That's your endurance, your speed, and your explosivity. So those fuels will run through one of those three energy systems, depending on what you're doing. If you're swimming long, right, that strawberry that you ate yesterday would be, used within one of those three systems, like a consumable. And then that gets delivered over to strength and flexibility. That's your muscle. And the muscle contracts around the bones. And the bones and the skeleton, the way that moves, that's your technique. From there, the technique is going to get you to where you want to go. And the whole question is, do you know where you want to go and how to get there? And that's the mind over here. Synergy is how you put it all together in the center. Now, for you, what we're wondering is, so racing would be a form of synergy, for instance. And we're talking about this the other day, you and I. So what did you see as kind of the most important for you to make sure that you got somewhere? Because you were building yourself. What did you think of as the most important thing for you to do?
To me, it was just grinding out the yards. I know I've got to have this many yards under my belt. I've got to feel that sort of comfort level that gives, to me, that feeds into a bunch of the other things, because if I don't have that, then my brain's not in the right place. I don't have the right,
confidence isn't there, things like that.
Confidence, exactly. Like if I don't have that, then it just feels like going to be kind of coming up short, so to speak.
Did you have experiences like that in the past where you said, I don't think I trained enough, and then you go in and
oh, totally,
it connects to
totally. Without a doubt. And I remember like that being a motivator, like, okay, I know what I got to do. I know what I didn't do. And because I didn't do it,
real clear, right?
It's that numbers thing. It's that subjectivity. There's no gray area in that. It is 100%, apparent.
So it was really big deal. And interestingly, so we're in the same pool, and the difference on the way we were training, for me, the training was literally a way to open the door so I could get in and race. I train hard, but I always felt like you were training more aggressively and harder, and that's probably why. For me, it was like I couldn't wait to get through the door to race, and if I had to work out to get there, that's what I was going to do.
I would say it was, certainly kind of, it was a hand in hand, super symbiotic. Okay, I got to do this if I want to get this.
And added up like, 1 + 1 = 2 there.
Yeah, that was just, had to be done.
And you were always willing to do the work to get it done too.
That was the motivator. That was the thing that
you saw success with that. You got traction, and you could tell.
Yeah. You see.
This.
Yeah, like you say, you see the fact that 1 + 1 = 2. It's not 1 + 1 = 1, and you did all that work and you didn't get anything for it. For me, it was cause and effect. I saw the work get put in and did that, and then I saw, okay.
In a councilman type of environment, I would think that would really play right to, because now you could tell those yardage are going to count. He knows exactly so you have that confidence. He knows exactly what he's going to do, and that paid off for you. Yeah, to me, yeah, it was like putting money in the bank every time you go and you go do a workout. And your performance showed it to all of us. That you're in there and say, look, I'm doing the program, and here's what I'm getting out of it. And you could see that Counsilman was taking a major effect on your performance. Well, and then that certainly has rolled over into just trying to keep those same sort of thoughts alive and same sort of mindset alive for all the master stuff that I do. Right.
It's a lot of guys will be, I see, are doing a little bit here and there, and and a lot of them are still swimming really fast. And I'm not saying everybody has to do what I do, but it's just for me, I know, yeah, I know what the rest of the secret sauce is for me. And, the secret sauce is just grinding out a bunch of yards.
We've got our FM fast track. We took a look at this a little while ago, and I was asking you what tools would actually, really be important for you.
Well, I mean, as we talked about before, kind of that, and I've forgotten which one it was called, but where you can really set up your whole season, and then,
Gotcha, right?
and then
the training planners, right? You go in there. And,
yeah.
Let's say you're doing like the 200 fly.
Well, no, the one that was kind of a broader edge of the funnel. Even it was the one that said, when is your big meet? Your big meet is in October. You need to be doing this much, base work, this much, endurance, then speed, and then this much taper. It kind of gave you the big, I like to think of it.
You're starting here in, let's say when would you be starting training?
So say today.
Okay, today. So on today, it's what, 4/19. And then you're going in October, 10, let's say 15, 21. And you just hit create plan. That's the one.
Oh, right. Okay. That was it. I apologize. Yeah.
Got it. And that tells you, when to do your build up, distance, interval focuses, repetition, sprint, taper. And then if somebody didn't have workouts, like they weren't working out with a team or something like that, they can just click here and buy fluid mechanics workouts. We designed those for them. And then also, if you want a strength training program for that same time, it just sets it up right there for you. So there's
and like I said, kind of being here on my own and swimming by myself, to have that sort of tool that really kind of maps out, okay, here's what you need to be doing. That to me is a great, it gives you that long-term plan, and okay, I gotta get this much in my distance block. I gotta get this much in my repetition blocks, so on and so forth. So you really kind of know, okay, am I doing what I need to be doing to get to that 14-day taper?
Right. And then let's say you didn't know what to do inside here, and you see it's build up or distance. Then you can go over here to the courses, and you can see FM energy systems, and you can click on there and go in there, and then right away you can work on an understanding of actually how those work, right? So training on what it means to do distance, how distance sets are built, what they're doing inside you, mitochondria, the whole works, and it's all animated, so you can actually see it happening, which is really neat. So great.
I've kind of always just taken what Doc said and just kind of continued on that path, and haven't really, deviated too much from that mindset. And
right.
I know there's been a lot of advances and a lot of new techniques and things coming up, and
the workouts that we have in here, originally were based with Counsilman's work, and then what we did was, alter, take out the things that we thought might not apply as much to someone, and depending on the situation. So it's all customized to each person and their event. So it's kind of neat when we do the workouts for people. But yeah, so that program's really nice. If they need to see maybe animation, so they can see the actual what's going on in their strokes and how to use them, things like that are very helpful as well. I come from Maine, so we didn't have a lot of coaches, especially in our town. There was no swim team. And because I come from a fishing community, a lobstering community, they had lobster buoys and ropes. So we'd have 3 lobster buoys down the lane.
Oh, wow. I'm sure that water was a little chilly too.
Well, it was actually, we had a 25-meter pool, which was surprising. It's the only one in the state at the time. That's what they did for lane lines. And so they're all like floating around like this, and so that's what, and I remember getting in there, and they basically, that was anything you had for any type of structure in the pool. So you'd be getting in the water, people are in your way. You couldn't. So finally we tried to start a swim team, and The coach quit. So at 14 years old, I became the coach.
Oh, wow. Well, we didn't have anybody else to coach. No, everybody quit when I,
so funny though, we had a kind of a similar experience that there wasn't just a program that set in and things like that. I had to design workouts and everything. And I'm 14 years old.
Yeah, I pretty much just did the same thing every single day.
Where did you get your workout from? Your original workout, or just decided this is what we're going to do? Or
yeah, I mean, it was just kind of left over from memories. I've got this much time. My mom had dropped me off at the Y, and I'll be back in an hour and a half. And
mine was the YMCA too. That's interesting.
Yeah, and now I just heard that they just tore down that YMCA back in my hometown. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Before it was at the old Y, and when there was an actual team, and we used to swim in it was a 20-yard 4-lane pool. That was a fun time.
So you had a 4-lane pool. That's what we had too. Man, it's funny how many similarities. It's funny even being on the team with it, because the team was maybe 45 people that we had on the team there, and I didn't know that we had actually had a similar coming up. Just where a lot of people came up from these big teams and things like that. Funny, I remember when I was training, I had a year and a half in prep school at the end of my high school. And they had a swim team there. They had 11 guys on the team, as I remember, something like this. And it was so badly ventilated, and it was cold, up in Maine. And it was snowing outside. So it was so badly ventilated that the chlorine would get so bad that you have to go over by the wall, about this close. You put your lips right next to the wall, and that's the only way you could breathe in there. Everybody else was choking. And you breathe the cold air, and just cold.
Oh, that was coming through the seams.
Right, just through there.
Yeah.
And they I pulled down now, but yeah.
Yeah, I certainly remember not seeing rainbows for weeks after some of these workouts.
Yeah. Based on that, and us having a similar experience, and it's definitely, and you're even doing it today, is where you're in there, you're working out on your own, and that's not an easy thing to do. It's a tough thing to do, to stay focused, especially enough to get to a place like you did. What do you have for advice for our younger community members that are kind of traveling along that same swimming pathway that you did?
Keeping the log and writing down the workouts, that and being able to look back, and you kind of get a little boost when you go a set faster than you did a month ago, or things like that. That to me, and finishing the workout and having that utility function of writing it into the book, and that gives it a sense of finality. That gives it a sense that, okay, I really did something. It gives you a sense of accomplishment that maybe you didn't feel so great, and you didn't want to go do it, but you still sucked it up and went and did it. That to me is has always been a big help, right? A big motivator. Exactly. I really hate looking, 419, big circle with a 0 through it. Okay. That I look at that, and that's okay, that's not great. I don't want to do that. And
you can really feel that circle with a cross through it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why if I don't swim anything, I just write the day and put a 0 in it.
And that's an important aspect of actually doing that for yourself in a way.
To me, yeah. And to me, that's a great kind of motivator for me, that, okay, well, now I had to write that 0 in the page, and I just
we actually say to our swimmers that the less value intrinsic, or the less value something has to it, the more it is intrinsically taken in. So the 0 with a cross through it, right? That's a big deal to you as a person. Whereas if it was you didn't make $1 or something like that, it wouldn't, right? That's extrinsic. It's not as motivating as what you want from internally from yourself, right? Your self-reputation, how you feel about what you're doing. Is that right?
Yeah. I'll always say, okay, well, I'm training for this next meet, and I know to be competitive and to be somebody who's going to be kind of in the mix, so to speak, that I know what I got to do.
Fred, it's very evident your ability, your self-belief I never really thought through this so much with you, but I think your self-belief is an incredible thing. You believe in yourself, you believe in your capabilities, you know you're kind of like the master of your universe, and you know how to get there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I say, I know the formula, and I know, if I want to bake a cake, I know I need to eat some flour and some eggs, and that if I don't have that, then I know it's not going to be a very good cake. I mean, I'm always interested in tweaking some stuff on the sides and trying some new things, but for the most part, it's kind of meat and potatoes, so to speak.
This has been such a pleasure. I just want to thank you so much. More I learn,
pleasure's been all mine, and thank you for.
The more I like you, as always. I just always enjoyed you.
Yeah,
some of these things. It's fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you reached out and made the connection, because this has been fun for me too.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and I'm sure the audience will really enjoy it. So thank you.